Welcome to my 10-day trip across Portugal and Spain. I started in Barcelona, made my way down to the Algarve for some sun, then explored the streets of Lisbon before wrapping up in Madrid. Each stop had its own stories, surprises, and views that made the trip unforgettable. Come along and relive the journey with me. We took early morning flight to Barcelona and landed around 8 in the morning. After landing, we grabbed a 48-hour travel pass from the metro station ticket machine and made our way to the hotel to drop off our bags. We checked into the hotel, freshened up, and kicked off day one exploring Barcelona. After a bit of wandering, we met up with our friends and decided to head to the Cosmocaixa Museum. This Triceratops skull, described as one of the largest and most pristine ever found. This is real fossilized skeleton of a mammoth. The skeleton is estimated to be 40,000 to 50,000 years old, originally from the frozen steppes of Siberia. According to museum information, this mammoth and other Ice Age fossils around it offer a glimpse into how large mammals lived, what their environment was like, and how their extinction ties into Earth's climatic and environmental history. One of the most impressive parts of the museum is the Amazon aquatic ecosystem. You'll see a huge underwater world packed with fish-like piranhas, along with amphibians and other species that thrive in these flooded environments. As you move further in, the space opens up into a full rainforest scene with thick vegetation, humid air, and wildlife all around you. It feels like you've stepped straight into the Amazon without ever leaving Barcelona, and it's a great way for visitors of any age to get a real sense of biodiversity and how these ecosystems work together. We finally spotted the capybara, said goodbye to our friends, and wrapped up our visit to the museum. We headed to Casa Batlló in the evening, but unfortunately, all the day's tickets were sold out. Still, just looking at the building from the outside was magical. We explored the Gothic quarter, Barri Gòtic, with its winding medieval streets, then visited the Catedral de Barcelona, a breathtaking Gothic masterpiece with intricate details and a peaceful cloister.
Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composer. Hallelujah.
Next, we visited the antique market, where stalls are filled with vintage treasures, antique souvenirs, old coins, and historic papers, a real haven for collectors. After a long day of roaming, we headed back to the hotel to rest and enjoy a well-deserved sleep. On day 2, we visited the Basilica de la Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. Designed by Antoni Gaudi, this iconic church is famous for its intricate facades, soaring spires, and unique blend of Gothic and Art Nouveau styles. Its stunning architecture makes it a must-see landmark in the city. After wandering around a bit, we took a bus to Parc Güell. Instead of getting off at the main entrance, we hopped off at the top extra, Del Carmel 27, so we could just walk down and skip the climb. From yesterday's experience, we made sure to buy our tickets online the night before, because the counter sells out fast. Make sure to arrive at your entry time, or you won't be let in. Parc Güell is one of Barcelona's most iconic attractions, designed by the famous architect Antoni Gaudi. The park is a stunning mix of nature and art, filled with colorful mosaics, whimsical sculptures, and winding paths that feel almost magical. As you wander, you'll notice Gaudi's signature style everywhere. Organic shapes, bright tiles, and intricate details inspired by nature. One of the highlights is the main terrace, where the famous serpentine bench curves around and offers panoramic views of the city below. The park isn't just about the visuals. It's also a peaceful escape from the city, with shaded walkways, hidden corners, and lush greenery. Every corner feels like a little discovery, from the mosaic salamander near the entrance to the colonnaded pathways that seem to flow like a forest. Whether you're an art lover, photographer, or just looking for a unique stroll, Park Güell offers an unforgettable experience, blending creativity, nature, and Barcelona's charm in one magical place. We wrapped up the day at the beach, soaking in the moonlight, and decided it was time to head back to the hotel. On day 3, we were up before sunrise and headed out to catch our flight to Lisbon. Once we touched down in Lisbon, we made our way over to 60-car rental provider to pick up our rental car. After sorting everything out, we hit the road and officially kicked off our drive down to Lagos, excited to start the next part of the trip. We decided to base ourselves at the Viator's Village Resort in Ferragudo for the next 4 days. It felt like the perfect spot to settle in, unwind a little, and use as our home base while exploring the Algarve. After a relaxing afternoon by the pool, we took a little time to recharge before heading out on foot to explore the old town. Wandering through the narrow streets was a great way to take in the local vibe, and we wrapped up the evening with a really good dinner right in Ferragudo. On day 4, we drove to Praia de Batata, one of the most beautiful beaches in the Algarve. The moment you arrive, you see why everyone talks about it. The beach sits between golden cliffs, and the only way down is a long wooden staircase that gives you an amazing view of the water as you descend. The water is calm and clear, almost turquoise when the sun hits it, and the cliffs wrap around the shoreline so it feels tucked away and peaceful. As we walked along the sand, we found small cave-like passages carved naturally into the rock. You can duck through them and they open up to little pockets of beach and different angles of the coastline. It feels like you're discovering a new viewpoint every few steps. The mix of cliffs, Tunnels and bright water makes it one of those places you just want to take your time exploring. We spent the morning soaking it all in. The three of us played in the water, relaxed on the sand, and just enjoyed being there. It had the perfect mix of adventure and calm, and it honestly felt like one of those classic Algarve moments you picture before the trip. Altogether, Praia do Camilo turned out to be a highlight of the day. The scenery, the little hidden corners, and the time we spent together made it a spot we'll remember long after the trip. After leaving Praia do Camilo, we made our way over to Algarve Marina. The plan was to see if we could buy some fresh fish straight from the fishermen. The marina itself was calm and really pretty, with boats lined up and the evening light reflecting off the water. We walked around hoping to catch the fishermen as they came in, but we were a bit late. Most of them had already packed up for the day, so there wasn't anything left to buy. Even though we missed them, it turned out to be a good stop. A couple of locals we talked to were really friendly and pointed us toward the Portimão market. They said it was the best place nearby if we wanted fresh seafood and good local produce. That little conversation gave the whole moment a nice, local feel. It's always different when you get tips from people who actually live there. When we reached the Portimão market, the first thing that hit us was how colorful the place looked. The fruit stalls were packed with fresh custard apples, figs, and a whole range of produce that instantly reminded me of what I used to eat back home in Chennai. There were ripe mangoes, bright oranges, piles of grapes, and even a few fruits I hadn't seen in a long time. Everything looked fresh, seasonal, and surprisingly affordable. It felt like the kind of market where you could easily lose track of time just walking around and checking out what each vendor had to offer. After that, we headed into the fish section, and that's where I really got a surprise. The variety was huge. There were stacks of sardines, big cuts of tuna, octopus, sea bream, and so many more types of fish laid out on ice. It immediately took me back to the Casamento market in Chennai, where I used to buy fish early in the morning. The prices were shockingly low. Some of the fish started at just €2, which is unbelievably cheap considering how fresh they were. We ended up buying a mix of fish for around €18, and the best part was that the shopkeeper cleaned everything for free. That saved so much time and made getting ready for dinner a lot easier. Walking out of the market, it felt like we had found one of those local gems that really sticks with you. The Portimão market turned into one of the unexpected highlights of the day. It gave us a nice blend of nostalgia, discovery, and a taste of local life, all in one stop. We marinated the fresh fish we bought, fried them to perfection, and enjoyed a delicious homemade dinner before turning in for a restful night. On day 5, we started the morning with a hearty breakfast, fueling up for another day on the road. Our plan for the day was to head east along the coast, soaking in more of the Algarve's stunning scenery. As we drove, we passed through the charming town of Carvoeiro, a small fishing village with whitewashed houses clinging to the cliffs and narrow streets lined with cafes and shops. The town has a relaxed, coastal vibe, and it immediately felt like a place worth exploring. We decided to make a stop at the Carvoeiro boardwalk, which is one of those spots that really captures the beauty of the Algarve. The boardwalk stretches along the cliffs, offering panoramic views of the coastline and the sparkling Atlantic waves below. Walking along it, you get a mix of dramatic cliffs, hidden coves, and the endless expanse of blue water that feels almost hypnotic. There are small lookout points along the way, perfect for taking photos or just pausing to soak it all in. The sound of the waves crashing against the rocks below adds a natural soundtrack to the whole experience, making it impossible not to slow down and enjoy the moment. After taking in the views from above, we decided to walk down closer to the waves. The path leads you along the cliffs and down narrow steps to the water's edge, where the sea meets the rocks, little inlets and pools. Standing there, feeling the spray of the waves and watching the water carve its way through the rock formations, it was one of those but unforgettable moments. We spent some time exploring the edges, taking in the scenery, and just enjoying the peaceful rhythm of the ocean. Next, we drove toward Benagil Beach. At one point, we even passed a place that looked almost like a golden palace sitting on the cliffside. It stood out against the landscape and added a fun little surprise to the drive. When we reached Benagil, the beach felt instantly iconic. It's a small cove tucked between tall cliffs with clear water and a calm vibe. Even if you're not going inside, the kayaks, the cliffs, and the bright water make the whole place feel special the moment you arrive. After Benagil Beach, we made our way toward the Benagil Cave viewpoint. We parked in the main lot and followed the trail, which eventually leads into the area marked as prohibited. At first it felt a bit intimidating because the signs make it seem like you shouldn't be there, but we noticed plenty of people taking the same route, so that eased the tension. The path itself is rough and uneven, with loose sand and patches of rock, and it winds along the edge of the cliffs. You need to watch your step, but the views along the way make it worth it. The coastline opens up in every direction, and you get these dramatic angles of the cliffs meeting the ocean. As we continued, the sound of the waves grew louder and you could feel the wind rushing up the cliffs. Eventually we reached the spot where you can look straight down into the Benagil Cave. Seeing it from above is a totally different experience from the beach. The circular opening at the top feels almost like a natural skylight, shining directly onto the sand inside the cave. You can see the curve of the stone walls, shaped by years of waves carving through them, and the water flowing in and out through the arch on the side. From above, the colors really stand out. It's one of those moments where you stop talking for a bit and just take in the view. The climb back is the same rugged trail, but once you've seen the cave from the top, it feels like you're walking back with a story you won't forget. On day 6, we started our morning rite in Ferragudo, and this time we wanted to explore the town properly. Ferragudo has this quiet charm that you really feel when you walk through it. The streets are narrow and winding, lined with whitewashed houses, little balconies with colorful flowers, and small cafes where locals sit and chat. It's the kind of place that still feels authentic. As we wandered around, we passed through the main square, which is always lively in the mornings. From there, the streets start climbing uphill. The village sits on a slope, so every turn gives you a different angle of the town or a peek at the river below. One of the nicest parts of Ferragudo is how close everything feels. You can walk from a quiet residential street to a beautiful viewpoint in just a few minutes. Walking through Ferragudo felt like stepping into a postcard. Every corner had something worth pausing for, whether it was a colorful door, a hidden alleyway, or a quiet square with just a couple of tables outside. It was a slow, relaxing start to the day and a great reminder of why small coastal towns have their own kind of magic. Our next stop was Lagos Old Town, a place that feels full of history the moment you step into it. The streets are cobblestone and narrow, weaving through a mix of old buildings, small cafes, and local shops. There's a relaxed rhythm to the town, with people strolling, musicians playing in the corners, and little restaurants tucked into side streets. Bright tiled walls and those classic Portuguese streets with patterns on the pavement. The town has a mix of charm and energy. Some streets are quiet and calm, while others open up into lively squares where people gather for food and drinks. You'll find boutiques selling handmade crafts, gelato shops, and plenty of places to stop and soak in the atmosphere. What makes Lagos Old Town special is how walkable and inviting it feels. Every turn gives you a new scene, whether it's a colorful building, a bit of street art, or a cafe with outdoor seating. It's the kind of place where you don't follow a plan. You just walk, explore, and enjoy whatever you stumble upon. Our final stop for the day was one of the beaches in Lagos, and getting there was an experience on its own. To reach the sand, we had to climb down a long set of wooden stairs that zigzagged down the cliffs. From the top, you get a wide view of the coastline, with golden rocks rising from the water and waves rolling gently toward the shore. It's the kind of view that makes you stop for a moment before heading down. The walk down is steep but beautiful, and with every few steps the beach feels closer and the sound of the waves gets louder. Once we reached the bottom, the whole place opened up into a calm, sheltered stretch of sand surrounded by cliffs. The water was clear, and the light bouncing off the rocks gave the whole beach a warm glow. We spent some time just enjoying the setting. We relaxed near the water, watched the waves break against the rock formations, and took in the peaceful vibe. The cliffs create a natural shield from the wind, so it feels tucked away and quiet even when there are people around. After all the walking and exploring earlier in the day, this beach stop was the perfect way to wind down. It wrapped up the day with a mix of calm, scenery, and that classic Algarve beauty. On day 7, we said goodbye to Lagos and began our drive back to Lisbon. The ride itself was smooth and scenic, giving us time to look back on all the moments from the trip. We reached Lisbon Airport and returned the car to 60 and switched gears into city mode. After that, we picked up a 2-day travel pass so we could easily get around and explore Lisbon at our own pace. We left our bags at the hotel and headed out to explore Lisbon right away. We took a bus to Martim Moniz Square, planning to hop on the famous tram 28. When we got there, we were surprised to see a long line of people waiting for it. Instead of standing around, we decided to take a short walk through the area, enjoy the surroundings, and come back for the tram a little later. A quick stop at a ginginha was hard to resist. The little shop was buzzing with people sipping cherry liqueur outside. The energy pulled me in, so I joined the line and grabbed a shot. It was sweet, strong, and definitely worth trying. After almost an hour in line, we finally got onto tram 28. One quick tip: instead of boarding at the first stop in Martim Moniz, try catching it at one of the next stops along the route. It can save you a long wait and still give you the full experience. The ride made the wait feel worth it. The moment it started moving, it felt like stepping back in time. The old wooden seats, the creaking sounds, and the slow pace gave the ride a nostalgic touch. The route passes through some of Lisbon's most charming neighborhoods, giving you close-up views of narrow streets, colorful buildings, and tiled facades. By the time we got off, it felt like we'd seen a whole new side of Lisbon just by sitting on that old yellow tram.
See you. Bye-bye.
We started exploring Chiado by visiting the Church of Our Lady of Loreto of the Italians. It's a beautiful, historic church with intricate details, elegant interiors, and a serene atmosphere that feels like a quiet retreat in the middle of the city. Afterward, we wandered through the streets of Chiado, which are full of character and charm. The area is a mix of old and modern, with cobblestone streets lined with traditional cafes, trendy boutiques, bookstores, and art shops. Every corner seems to tell a story. After exploring Chiado, we headed over to Barro Alto. As we walked into one of the first streets, everything shifted. Soon we entered the heart of Barro Alto, where the streets came alive with energy. Music poured out of clubs, colorful lights lit up the facades, and the air was buzzing with people enjoying the night. Old restaurants and cafes spilled onto the sidewalks, creating a lively, welcoming atmosphere. The contrast between the quiet, tense streets we first walked through and the vibrant, party-filled areas just a block away was striking. It felt like stepping from one world into another, showing the city's unique mix of history, nightlife, and culture, all packed into these charming, winding streets. We hopped on a tram heading toward the Santa Luzia viewpoint, and the ride itself was a treat. From the windows, we caught glimpses of small squares, street cafes, and the everyday life of the city unfolding below. Once we reached Santa Luzia, the view was incredible. From this vantage point, the city stretched out in every direction, with the river reflecting the lights and the rooftops glowing under the night sky. On day 8, we started our morning with a relaxing walk and made our way to the Time Out Market Lisboa. This vibrant market brings together some of the city's best chefs, fresh local produce, and unique food stalls all under one roof. There's everything from traditional Portuguese dishes to international flavors, and it's easy to get a little overwhelmed by all the options. After exploring a bit, we finally settled down and enjoyed a delicious breakfast, soaking in the lively atmosphere around us. Next, we made our way to the Ponte 25 de Abril, Lisbon's famous suspension bridge. Stretching across the Tagus River, it's an impressive sight, often compared to the Golden Gate in San Francisco. We found a spot nearby to just sit and enjoy the view of the river and the city skyline. It was absolutely stunning. Then we took a tram to Praça do Comércio, one of Lisbon's main squares right on the river. It used to be the city's royal palace site, and today it's a huge open space surrounded by yellow buildings, cafes, and the Arco de Rua Augusta. It's a busy spot with great energy and amazing views of the waterfront. From there, we walked over to Pink Street, one of Lisbon's most photographed spots. The ground is literally painted bright pink, and the whole area used to be part of the old red light district. Now it's filled with bars, music, and people hanging out. While we were standing there, we noticed a lady on the street entertaining everyone. She had this playful energy, joking around with people passing by and getting big reactions without even trying. It added a fun, unexpected moment to the whole stop. Watching her interact with the crowd made the scene feel even more lively, like the street had its own personality. As we stepped through the Arco de Rua Augusta, a guy was in the middle of the square showing off smooth football tricks, keeping a small crowd entertained with quick footwork and easy confidence. A little further along, a painter stood by his easel, brushing warm tones across a canvas. The street opened up into a busy stretch of sound and color. People drifted past, stopping for a moment to watch before blending back into the flow of the avenue. We walked past this huge line outside a pastry shop, all for Portuguese tarts. I honestly thought it was just another tourist trap, but I was completely wrong. The tarts were incredible. I liked them so much I went back for 2 more and ate them on the spot. The place is called Manteigaria, and if you're in Lisbon, make sure you don't skip it. We made our way up this steep hill to Miradouro de Senhora do Monte, one of the highest viewpoints in Lisbon. The climb is no joke, but the view at the top is worth every step. You can see the whole city spread out in front of you, from the castle to the river. It's quieter than the more crowded viewpoints, which makes it a perfect spot to take a break and soak in the city. As night fell, we wandered down Rua da Silva, known as Lisbon's Green Street. The whole place was glowing with warm lights, plants hanging from balconies, and a really easy, relaxed vibe. Cafes and small bars spill onto the cobblestones, and the street feels like one of those quiet corners you only find by exploring. After this little nighttime walk, we wrapped up the day and headed back to get some sleep so we could catch our morning flight to Madrid. On day 9, we landed in Madrid. The city felt alive the moment we arrived. We headed straight to the hotel to drop our bags and get ready to explore. We grabbed a quick breakfast at La Mallorquina, a classic Madrid bakery that's been around for over a century. It's famous for its pastries, especially the Napolitana, and it's always buzzing with locals. We started our morning walk at Puerta del Sol, the busy crossroads of Madrid. It's one of those spots where you instantly feel the rhythm of the city. Street performers, cafes opening for the day, people rushing to work. From there, we made our way toward Plaza Mayor, and the vibe shifted completely. The noise fades a little, and suddenly you're standing in this huge square surrounded by beautiful, uniform buildings. It's easy to imagine what it must have looked like centuries ago. As we walked toward the cathedral, we started to notice something different about the day. The streets were fuller than usual, and most of the people around us looked like locals, not tourists. Families were dressed nicely, carrying flowers, and moving in the same direction we were. That's when we realized we had arrived on a special day in Madrid. November 9th is Dia de la Almudena, the celebration of the city's patron saint. It's one of those moments where you feel like you've stepped right into the heart of local life. Instead of the usual morning rush, the whole area had a calm, respectful energy. People were gathering to take part in the procession and bring floral offerings to the cathedral. You could hear church bells in the distance and see small groups stopping to take photos or chat before heading inside. It felt like the city had paused for a moment to honor its own history and traditions. Walking with the crowd toward the cathedral gave the whole morning a different meaning, almost like we were part of something the city has been celebrating for generations. As we walked toward the royal palace, we ran into people dressed as teddy bears, Stitch, and even a transformer. A crowd had gathered for street performances, and a group of girls were shooting dance videos for what looked like an album.
This is a hot spot. Sushi to Chapman, pop star. The Gaudi type, not cleaning up what you crapping. Now you're mad that was us in. Do you see me good in your mouth? Guilty pleasure, never to look like the shopper. I said that to you.
We wandered into the gardens around the royal palace, and the whole area feels calm compared to the busy streets outside. The paths are lined with neat hedges, fountains, and shaded spots where people sit and relax. From certain corners, you get great views of the palace walls and the city below. There's a nice mix of open spaces and little quiet pockets where you can just slow down for a moment. From the palace, we made our way toward the sunset viewpoint, and this spot gives you one of the best panoramas in Madrid. You can see the rooftops, the hills in the distance, and the whole city glowing as the sun drops. The light hits the buildings in a way that makes everything feel calm for a moment. It's the kind of place where people just stop talking and watch the view. We stood there for a bit, taking it all in before heading to our next stop. A short walk from the viewpoint brought us to Templo de Dibad, an actual ancient Egyptian temple that was moved to Madrid in the 1960s. The temple itself is simple but powerful, and at sunset it becomes one of the most photographed spots in Madrid. First up is Casa Gallardo, one of Madrid's standout modernist buildings with its smooth curves and detailed facade. Next is the Monumento a Don Quixote de la Mancha, a tribute to Spain's most iconic literary duo. And finally, Hotel Riu Plaza España, rising over the square with one of the best skyline views in the city. As night fell, we started making our way toward Plaza del Callao, and the city seemed to transform before our eyes. The tall buildings on both sides of the street lit up with bright, colorful lights, neon signs, and glowing billboards, giving the whole area this vibrant, cinematic energy. People filled the sidewalks, some stopping to take photos, others chatting outside cafes or heading to theaters, while street performers added little bursts of entertainment along the way. The mixture of historic architecture with modern lights creates this unique contrast that makes Madrid feel alive in a way you can almost hear. Every corner had something happening: a store display, a glowing sign, or a group of friends laughing together. Walking down this long, lively avenue, you really feel the pulse of the city at night, full of movement, color, and life. It's the perfect way to experience Madrid after dark, when the streets shine and every moment feels a little more magical. We hopped on the metro and headed to the famous Santiago Bernabéu Stadium, home of Real Madrid. It's an iconic spot for football fans, with a massive stadium, trophies, and history inside. But unfortunately, we arrived too late and it was already closed. This was our last stop for the day, so we headed back to the hotel to get some rest, ready for our morning flight home after an amazing trip. It's day 10, and we caught our flight back home, marking the end of this incredible journey. From the vibrant streets of Barcelona and Lisbon to the sun-soaked beaches of the Algarve and the lively energy of Madrid, every moment was unforgettable. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This trip reminded me how amazing it is to explore new places. Thanks for watching.